Okay, under announcements, hopefully by now you have had a chance to receive the message I sent out about um, an employee at the club testing positive for COVID-19, and to know that we did convene a task force to talk about our policies and practices and procedures. And I want to give a special thank you to the people that served on that task force. Dr. Laura Lasik agreed to serve as chair, and so she has agreed to share the results of our work. And on your table, you should find some copies of the written version of this, if you want to pass those around and follow along with her. Those of you who are on Zoom, it'll probably be up on the screen shortly. Is that right? Okay, so Dr. Lasik.
Of my office. I appreciate President Giese asking me to chair this committee, and I think we did get a lot accomplished when we met last week. I actually think that she was going to have our recommendations put up on the screen, but I don't see them yet. I still see the presenter's presentation. But the long of the short of what we discussed, here we go. Is the current safe. So we met, several of us met along with Corey, who is the Elmwood Country Club manager. We discussed what safety practices are in place currently and what we may need to do as a club to keep ourselves safe. So as you can see, the current safety practices that Elmwood has in place is their staff members are wearing masks and sterilizing all high-touch surfaces throughout the day, and there's hand sanitizer available in multiple areas for people to access that and use for both guests and staff. Staff has been reminded to stay home if not feeling well and report any exposure of COVID-19 to their supervisor. And then as a result of our meeting, I do believe that Elmwood was going to start taking temperatures of their staff on a daily basis as well, period. And food at the meetings are currently served by Elmwood staff, I guess, still in our banquet. I haven't been to a meeting in person yet, but I'm assuming similar to the way we were having our meals served in the past. However, now the staff members are serving the food rather than club members picking what they want onto their plate. And then, as you can see, our chairs and tables have been spaced for social distancing. The items that we discussed specifically for Rotary Club and for our members and for our meetings is that we do strongly encourage Rotary members to wear masks at meetings. Obviously, you cannot eat with the mask on. You can remove your mask to eat, but it would be appreciated to those around you if you're able to place your mask back on after you are done eating. We are also requesting if a Rotary member tests positive for COVID-19 to let our club president, Mary Giese, know. We may be asking, we are taking attendance at the specific tables that you are sitting at now. So if someone tests positive at your table, we will ask you, the person who has been notified of the positive test, if we can contact those who were seated with you that day just to let them know. And as you can see, the club secretary is going to keep track of attendance by table to allow for that contact tracing if we need to. And we're also going to have some disposable masks available to Rotary members at the check-in table as well. There are a few questions that we would like you to review. And if you have a yes answer to any of these, we would encourage you to attend our meetings via Zoom rather than in person. And because we do anticipate that we are going to continue Zoom meetings for the foreseeable future. So those 3 questions include, have you or anyone in your household had any of the following symptoms in the last 14 days, including sore throat, cough, chills, body aches, shortness of breath, or fever at more than 100.4 degrees? Number 2, has anyone in your household been tested for COVID-19 and are waiting for the results? Or number 3, do you have any reason to believe you or anyone in your household has been exposed or been in close proximity with any individual who has tested positive for COVID-19? So if you answer yes to any of those, we want you to participate in meetings, but if you could do that via Zoom, that would be in the best interest for our members. So I'd like to thank those who attended the meeting with us: Tom McCoy, Jim Goodman, Tim Jasper Ramirez, Corey Strait, and then Mary Geese, who were all at the meeting last week where we discussed these issues. If there are any questions, I'm happy to entertain those.
Does anyone have a question at this time? Well, if not, we're always open for questions. You're welcome to contact Dr. Lasik directly or any of the members of the task force as they come up. So again, we appreciate the work that has happened so far. It's good to look out and see a lot of you wearing your masks, and I keep balancing that with the positive news that maybe we will have a vaccine sometime in the future. So that will be a wonderful thing, hopefully, for everyone. Okay, that takes care of that. The second announcement that I would like to share with you is hopefully you have also received an invitation from the Boone Rotary Club. One of their long-term projects related to their community is they have a wonderful railroad museum in town. If you haven't been there, I encourage you to go see it. It's really fun. But they've decided they want to move a locomotive from the museum out to Highway 30. And that is a major project that's been in the planning stages for quite a while. It's going to happen on the 22nd, which means tomorrow, I think that's tomorrow, and Thursday in stages. And I have the invitation here if you want to remind yourself about what's happening on what day. But it might be very fun to go. And also, they are welcoming any donations that anybody would like to make. So I have that information as well. So we're happy for them, and it'll be fun to look forward to sometime if we don't go this week. Are there any additional announcements? Sorry. Okay, happy news. We're all just happy to be here today, right? Joel has happy news, yay. Would you mind coming up to speak in the microphone? Thank you.
I did wear the mask in for those on the Zoom, and we'll wear it out, and then declare that anybody going into city offices had to wear it. That's going to include our police force and fire department officials if they're in common areas too. The happy news is that we were able to make a trip down to Texas last week, a one-day trip down, stopping 3 times, used gloves, disposable gloves, masks, drive-through food, saw Aaron and Matt and the 2 dogs, had a great time down there, discovered that Texas is locked down way tighter than Iowa. And on the way down, I got stopped for going 91 in a 70 in Kansas, and the state trooper and I got hit it off so well that he didn't even give me a warning ticket. That's worth the $5 I'll leave on the table.
Thank you. Any other happy news? Anybody on Zoom? Okay, Jim Goodman has something in the way of news he's been asked to share.
So good afternoon. This morning I ran into one of our supervisors, Dave Thompson, and he said, "Who does the news at Rotary?" And I said, "Todd Steinkamp." So he wanted a news release, and he tried to give it to Steinkamp, and Steinkamp said, "I'm not going, I'm laid up, I'm not going to be there." So he gave it to me and said, "Would you read this?" And I humbly agreed. This has to do with, he handed this to me. He says, according to Dave Thompson, as a successful bidder, we've decided, you all know that they bought the old fire station. As a successful bidder, we've decided to convert the previous fire station into a multi-use facility. The north half of the property is being donated to Marshall County. As a county supervisor, I've seen firsthand how our growing needs have outpaced the limited space of the courthouse. This donation is a token of our appreciation to the people of Marshall County for 36 years of support and patronage of our family business. The south half of the property will be used as an opportunity for shop expansion and better inventory and better access to seasonal merchandise. I think they're going to move some of the voting machines over there too. The current building's office space will be available for rent in an effort to help local businesses. So he was pretty excited about having me read this. I guess I'm excited too, so it's a good thing. So I can tell him I read it now. Thanks for listening.
Thank you very much, Jim. We are ready for the program next, and sure.
I apologize, Shari, if you could reshare your screen, we can't see it anymore, so we'll need you to do that.
Okay, I guess I'm up to introduce our very own Deirdre Grindler, who has helped me set up this program. I take that back. She set up this program for us for today, and she is going to introduce Shari King. Deirdre is the executive director of the Unity Point Health Marshalltown Foundation and is on Zoom in a different location than Shari, so all three of us are in different locations. And Deirdre, please introduce your friend and colleague, Shari King.
Awesome, Betty. Thank you very much. Well, it is my pleasure to introduce Shari King to all of you. Shari's honored to be in her new role as administrator for Unity Point Health Marshalltown. She's worked with Unity Point Health for her entire 25-year career in healthcare, starting first as a physical therapist. Responsibilities for the last 20 years, overseeing daily operations of many clinical and support service departments. She excels at problem solving and developing others' skills to enhance performance, which I've been seeing firsthand here in Marshalltown with Shari for I think the last 18 months, but she'll talk more about that. She holds a master's degree in physical therapy from Emory University in Atlanta, Georgia, and a bachelor's degree from Central Iowa College in Pella, Iowa. Go Dutch! She's been married to her husband, Jim, for 15 years. Shari enjoys travel, performing arts, sports, and a good Netflix binge. Shari, take it away.
Thank you, Deirdre. Thank you, Betty. And thank you to Rotary for the invitation today. We have a lot going on at Unity Point Health Marshalltown, so I'm pleased to be able to share some of that with you. So yes, hello, my name is Shari. It has been my privilege to accept the administrator position here. Prior to that, though, I have been working in the Marshalltown market for about 18 months, which has made the transition just a little bit easier, I think, because I already knew the people and processes primarily. So it's really been fun to be here in a formal and permanent role as the administrator. The guy with the flat top and the graying goatee is my husband, Jim. And we are very excited to move here to Marshalltown. We are deep in the middle of the house hunt, and we expect to be living here by the end of the year, sooner if possible. And just for the record, Thursday night is pizza night. I expect that Zeno's will become a feature on our weekly menu. I have been asked why come to Marshalltown. And I've kind of boiled it down to 3 reasons, and one is right here on the screen. This is our primary leadership team. Jenny Friedley is the president for Marshalltown. She's also the regional COO for Unity Point Health Waterloo region. Jenny and I have worked together for many, many years, and so this is just a continuation of our working relationship. Jen Arneson on the right has just accepted the position of Director of Nursing for UPH Marshalltown, and I'm really excited excited that I get to work with her even more intimately than I had before. Obviously, she is a seasoned leader who has been in our organization for 25 years. And frankly, she's just fantastic. So I'm really honored that I get to work with her. We have a lot of other leaders as well in our organization who I'm really honored to get to work with, Deirdre being one of those, but also other directors, managers, and supervisors in the organization. We're very blessed, and I look forward to working with them even more closely. The second reason I took the position is because Unity Point Health is making huge strides in improving patient experience and also in achieving financial stability. I don't need to go down the road of what happened with bankruptcy. We have turned the corner and we are moving in the right direction so that we can provide sustainable healthcare here in Marshalltown. It's really exciting to work on a project where we get the opportunity to reestablish trust in our community and to be an active and engaged partner in the community. And the third reason is because big news, we get to build a hospital. Who wouldn't want to be a part of that? So we are very excited about our future here and getting to be a part of something that is so tangible for advancing healthcare in our community. We are looking to increase our visibility in Marshalltown. Pam Delagardelle, who is our CEO for the Waterloo region, is on the chamber board. Jenny Friedley is serving on Vision Marshalltown. And Jen, I know, is already involved with a couple of organizations in the community. She and I will be looking for additional opportunities where we can connect with and engage with our community. All right, so obviously something that has been taking up a lot of our time and attention, as it has for, I think, every human being on the planet, is COVID-19. I want to hit you with some highlights of what our life has been like here these last 4 months and a little bit around lessons learned. We really started our journey in early March with some formal initiatives and really getting some planning going. We initiated our incident command structure both at the region level, the Waterloo region level, and at the system level in the middle of March. At that time, our regional incident command was open 12 hours a day, 7 days a week, and that went on for over 2 months. I really can't shout out enough to our senior team who was manning that command center. We learned a lot through the process, but it worked. I think our structure really worked, and we learned some lessons along the way. In the early part of our process, we spent a lot of time developing policies, protocols, surge plans, you know, how everything would work, what would happen when that patient hit our ED or we get a positive in urgent care. All of that preparatory time served us very well when we started seeing patients who were suspected of having COVID. Per the governor's instruction, elective procedures were terminated. That happened close to the end of March. Fortunately, we were able to resume procedures mid to late May and hit a full schedule by June 1st. And that is how it remains today. One of the wonderful things that came out of this pandemic was the amount of outreach that we were able to do to long-term care facilities and other healthcare providers throughout our region. We have had a weekly call with Iowa Veterans Home, for example, being able to provide collaboration and support and identify where are problem areas, what needs our attention, because certainly what happens in one organization is not only in that organization. It affects, the ripple effect has some far-reaching fingers. And so we were able to really establish great communication and collaboration with that outreach. Often in times of a disaster, communication is a problem, but we were really intentional this time about working on how we were going to disseminate communication. How does it come from the system level to the region? How does the region then disseminate it to the management team? And so we had very intentional daily communication updates first thing every morning. System updates usually came late in the day so that they could be passed on to region management the first thing the next morning. We also included a wide array of folks, not just Waterloo, but also even Sumner, Grundy Center. Obviously, Marshalltown was engaged, Independence, making sure that we are casting a wide net and including anybody who needed the information that was coming forth. We saw a huge advancement in how virtual care was done. We've seen it both in inpatient and outpatient. Now, you may be familiar, our inpatient coverage here at the hospital is actually staffed through a telehealth program, and it's actually been very, very popular. We are able to staff and provide services from board certified internal medicine physicians, which has been a fantastic opportunity to deliver specialty care in a little different format, but we still have access to that care. And our outpatient clinic visits for Unity Point Health as a whole, our virtual visits have increased by over 1,000% through the pandemic. Patients have really taken to this option. It's easy, it's simple, nobody has to travel. You can do it from wherever you are with your phone. And it's one of those things that we'll be taking forward as we continue moving forward with how do we best do care. We want to do it the way that's convenient for the patient. Our supplies and personal protective equipment as part of Unity Point Health, we're fortunate we never ran out. After seeing some of the pictures from New York before it hit the Midwest more, certainly there was concern, but due to a great deal of work and attention by our supplies and materials management folks, we were blessed. We came close on a few items a few times, but we never had to have anybody deliver care in a manner that would have been unsafe or did not follow the guidelines. I want to take this minute to give a big shout out to everyone in our community who made masks or companies that retooled their equipment to make face shields or masks or any other needed supplies, disinfectant sprayers. There's just been a lot of interesting innovation that has come out of this pandemic, and we say thank you very much. And boy, did we get fed. We got a lot of wonderful donations from community restaurants. We've had coffee and donuts and muffins and cakes and cookies. And I think the ED one night, or excuse me, our emergency department, I think even got prime rib one night. So I'm gonna have to get in on that gig in the future. But our team has been really, really appreciative of the outreach and of the thoughtfulness and support that we have received from our community. Today, you know, we had a little bit of a reprieve in June. We really didn't see hospitalizations for COVID positive patients during that time frame. Unfortunately, they have resumed. You know, we really saw an uptick here about 10 days ago or so, 7 to 10, which interestingly is about 14 days after the 4th of July. So we are definitely seeing hospitalizations again with COVID positive. We are resuming some of our activities that we used in what we kind of call the first phase, although we don't know if we're really done with the first phase. We're considering, do we need to reopen incident command on a regional level, on a system level? We have resumed a COVID operations call 3 times a week so that we can identify where hotspots are, what are people seeing from their various clinics and other settings so that we can be on top and prepared when we need to take action again. I want this group to know that hopefully you've heard this nationwide, but there are still some restrictions and some difficulties with lab testing. We are short of test kits nationwide and reagent. Reagent is a chemical that you need in order to complete the test so that you can result it. We're also seeing some pretty lengthy turnaround times. I've heard some folks, they happen to be outside our system, but that it's taken 7 to 9 days sometimes to get a lab result. So while the intent to test even asymptomatic folks is well intended, at this point, we just simply don't have enough tests. So I just share that as information, not because we're trying to thwart anybody getting a test who wants or needs a test, but you know, we thought we had passed this point with the lab testing, and here it is again this summer. So on the plus side, however, we do have a lot better knowledge of what to expect with this pandemic and how to manage whatever comes. We're pretty well practiced at this point. We know how to seclude, isolate, use the proper PPE, and get testing done when we need to in a quick and efficient format. And we have all the infrastructure in place that we need in order to do that. So, you know, you get better as you go, and that's definitely been the case for us as well. Obviously, I need to put in a plug. Please help us prevent the spread. Do what you can. Nothing on here should be new or a surprise to you. Wash your hands. And if you don't have availability of soap and water, hand sanitizer works. Stay distant from each other, those that are not in your household, 6 feet or more, and wear a mask when you're around others who are outside your household. Avoid the 3 C's, crowds, closed spaces with poor ventilation, and close contact with anybody outside your household. All right, let's move on and talk about something a little more fun. The South Campus Transformation is the name lengthy name, I guess, that we have given our expansion at our South Campus. This is the current facility. Hopefully you're familiar with it. Very attractive building, lots of glass, attractive stone. This is where our future is, and we are very much looking forward to getting this project moving along. This represents a huge, significant investment in Marshalltown. The project we have approved is $38.4 million, and hopefully that is also a representation of how important it is to be a part of our local community, that we would make an investment of this volume. I'm particularly pleased that we have been able to proceed with this project in spite of the pandemic, because reality is that it's unlikely that all healthcare facilities and companies are going to survive the pandemic because of the financial ramifications that it has wreaked across everybody's industries. So, all right, some vital statistics on our new building. We are actually adding 3 new buildings out at the South Campus. The first one is the hospital expansion. That is a 2-story building that will be added to the southeast end of the building. That's on the left as you're looking at the front door in the previous picture. The emergency department will be on the 1st floor. The 2nd floor will be the inpatient medical surgical unit. It will be approximately 40,000 square feet when finished. On the opposite end of the building will be our clinic expansion. That is a 1-story building on the northwest end. It will be attached to the main building via an indoor walkway. That building will house our family medicine and pediatrics clinics, plus our multi-specialty clinic. Finished size will be approximately 23,000 square feet. And our 3rd building is actually our emergency medical services building, or EMS. That's a 1-story building. It will be southeast of the new hospital. It is not attached to the existing or to the new hospital. It will house 5 ambulance bays for cleaning, washing, stocking of supplies in our ambulances, as well as some support space for our crews. That building is approximately 5,200 square feet. So a few other things that might be of interest. Our med-surg unit, inpatient unit, will have 16 beds. The emergency department has 12 treatment rooms. That will include 2 trauma rooms. The piece that's maybe new for UPH Marshalltown is the 4 observation rooms. These are rooms where we can house someone for a little longer if we need to do a little bit more testing or investigate what's going on with their condition, and we can't do that quickly with a fast turnaround time. These rooms will all be behavioral health safe. What that really means is that equipment that is built into the walls will be able to be sequestered off. So you will be able to pull down a garage door, most likely, so that you can eliminate access to that equipment by the patient in case they might use it to harm themselves or others. So all 4 of those rooms will have those features to enhance the safety of patients and staff. There also is an attached 2-bay ambulance garage that goes straight into the trauma rooms so that we can quickly get patients where they need to be for the care they need when they arrive in the emergency department. A few odds and ends that I've been asked over the last several weeks. Urgent care that is currently located at the South Campus will be moving out. We are in the process of looking for a more central location for that service, so it's not so far south. We'd like it more in the middle of town. All the services that are currently occurring in the North Campus or the hospital today as we know it, everything is relocating from the north to the south. We have a home for everyone. So there will not be any Unity Point Health Marshalltown services remaining at the North Campus. We are working on the real estate disposition of the North Campus and associated properties with all the involved and interested parties, and that work continues today. All right, so our timeline, before COVID became our focus, we were able to do a couple of building design meetings. We did our kickoff on February 24th with our architect, which is Envision, and then also the construction primary GC, which is Graham Construction. We were able to have a meeting in March, and then everything stopped cold pretty much. All of our time, energy, and resources went to COVID. So we were able, though, to resume our work on June 1st, and by the end of June, we were able to sign off on schematic design, which is the basic floor plan. Now, next week, we actually get to start design development, which is where everything in every single room gets specified. Every outlet, every suction machine, every computer arm, every glove box or hand sanitizer dispenser, all of that will be scheduled during our design development throughout the month of July and August. On August 31st, we are planning our groundbreaking. It will be virtual, given the spike that we're experiencing. We didn't feel that it would be responsible for us to try to bring a group together. So we will be doing it virtually, but are excited that we get to do it by the end of August. Obviously, it was important to us to stay on schedule, as close to schedule as we can. And so hopefully, if everything goes according to plan, our expansion will be completed in the spring of 2022, and we'll get to move in. I do have 3 asks regarding this project. Number 1, if you have drifted away from the local healthcare services, please try us again if you haven't for a while. Number 2 is provide feedback on what you're hearing. It can help direct us on what we need to do or what questions we need to answer or where we need to spend a little bit more time. And my 3rd ask is that please, if you can, support our project in any way that you're able. We appreciate the support. All right, I will take a breath and quit talking for a minute. I'm happy to take any questions you might have.
Shari, this is Betty out in Zoom land. Can
Yes,
you
hi
hear me?
Betty.
Hi. So I have had people ask me about the closing the OB department, you know, which I'm very familiar with, but what kind of ramifications have you had? Have you had any emergency deliveries? Are we seeing any positive or negatives from that situation?
Sure. Thank you for asking. Obviously, the closure of OB was a very painful and difficult decision to make, and certainly one that has a wide range of impact. I will say we have not seen any negative ramifications other than obvious at this time. We've not had any emergency deliveries. We've been able to manage any potential mom that might come to our emergency department and have been able to successfully transfer them to this point. And it's been almost a year, not quite. It has helped, I believe, that we have OB outreach in our multi-specialty clinic. So all of the prenatal and postnatal follow-up can occur close to home. And that has been an asset, I think, for helping moms make decisions about the labor delivery process, and then also just making plans for that. So.
Good, thank you.
There was some disturbing news this week. I don't know if you heard, Mercy One in Sioux City, actually effective September 1, is also terminating their labor and delivery, which was, again, it's indicative of what's going on in the state, unfortunately. But. Thank you, Betty. Questions?
Will the medical rental space north of the present hospital, the North Campus, will that be sold and disposed of also?
I think you were asking about the building directly to the north of the hospital. We call it the McFarland building. Yes, we are working with interested parties and potentially on selling that building, yes.
There's a question in the chat. I'm not sure if you can see it. I'll try and read it. It's taped down. How does planned surgical spaces, total rooms in the new facility compare to today?
I would say, actually, we're not changing anything about our surgery space at the South Campus. So there are 4 ORs there today, and that will remain that way. While there are fewer spaces, I will say that our surgery suite is not operating at its full capacity. So there's plenty of capacity to increase the number of surgeries that we're doing there. That was studied quite closely by our consultants to make sure that we had adequate surgical space. And obviously that OR is lovely. It's new, really designed for how modern cases are done. Here at the North Campus, we're really only actively using 2 of the operating rooms currently. And, you know, typically the vast volume of our cases are at the South Campus. We maybe do an average of 1 inpatient case a day here at the hospital campus. So that can easily be absorbed into the schedule at the South Campus once we move.
I have another, not question, I guess, but comment. The first week of June, after you had resumed your full scheduling, my husband had an elective surgery at the South Campus, an outpatient, and we just couldn't be happier. Care was wonderful. The facility's great. He's had surgery at Mary Greeley, and he's had surgery at the University of Iowa, and we just couldn't be happier here. So I want to pass that on because I know you need some positive feedback once in a while, and it was a very positive experience.
That's great to know, Betty. I'll be sure our surgical team knows that as well. It's always to hear, yes, good to know what we can work on, but also nice to hear when it goes well and when you have a good experience. And thank you for using your local healthcare to do that activity. Thank you.
With the completion of the new hospital, will there be any new specialties added?
At this point, no. However, we are frequently looking at additional specialties to come and do outreach clinics in our multi-specialty clinic. So just because while they are not intentional to the hospital space, we certainly are looking to augment services and specialties that we offer through our multi-specialty clinic.
So are all of the McFarland offices going to move to the hospital too, or?
No. I don't know if anybody from McFarland is in the room or on the Zoom. No, they have their own plans for what they would like to do. So they will not be moving onto the South Campus with Unity Point.
Since art is one of my interests, I've been especially fond of the sculpture that's in the entry area on the North Campus. I'm assuming that a place will be found for that at the new hospital.
We are looking at all, especially memorial gifts or things that are recognition gifts, and how to best disposition those for the future. We want to take some history with us, certainly. And so, yes, we have a lot of decisions to make. I can say that for some families, they have asked for certain pieces back, and we have been able to provide those if the family of whoever they made it in honor of, if they would like that back. So we're certainly willing to entertain that as well if someone has interest in taking back something that has meaning to them.
Thank you. I know that you have a wonderful collection of paintings and other artwork as well. Is that what you're referring to?
Yes, in fact, Deirdre, I think, is our artwork guru. So yes, we need to be looking at all of that. And so we will be doing that and making sure that we take those pieces that have import or have meaning, especially, or that were gifts in honor of someone through memorial or through the foundation. You want to add anything there, Deirdre?
Yeah, thanks, Shari. I'll just add that we are working with architects in the building on what fits in the new space, and certainly with as large as the North Campus is, we'll have so much more artwork than we'll have space to house at the South Side. So it'll be a thoughtful process, and like Shari said, honor the gifts and memorials that have come in.
There's another question in the chat. Can you share info and press gaining results recently?
I could if I had them in front of me. I will say that our Press Ganey results, which is our patient experience survey, for those of you, that's somebody who's super smart or knows a lot about patient experience. They did take a tumble, I will say, not a huge tumble, but they decreased during COVID. And we've seen that across a lot of our entities throughout. Obviously, it's a very stressful time for patients, for staff, constantly changing visitor restrictions. So we have seen a nice uptick though for data that we've seen in May and June. So we're hopeful we'll get back on track very quickly here as we get, hopefully further away from pandemic and can put our minds to other things.
Okay, well, we certainly thank you for your presentation today, Shari. Please join me in giving her a round of applause.
Thank you.
Next week, Deb Millizer, who is the Executive Director of the Central Business District in Marshalltown, will be giving us an update, and we'll look forward to seeing all of you then. We'll close with the four-way test. Please rise. Of the things we think, say, or do, first, is it the truth? Second, is it fair to all concerned? Third, will it build goodwill and better friendships? And fourth, will it be beneficial to all concerned? Have a great week, and we'll see you next Tuesday. We're adjourned.